And I'm in a dress again. The great thing about having Tanja and Tia around is I have someone in charge of dressing me.
He is our muse. So we hope you appreciate his attire.
I guess the bad thing is they own mostly women's clothes. So we'll see how that goes.
Ryan, this challenge is for you, babe.
Today we're working on shooting with couples.
You have a really hard time working with two people.
For me, this is one of my absolute weakest areas, and I don't mind admitting it.
This is Ryan's biggest challenge. He, one beautiful person he can handle, but two, he gets stuck.
But it's one of Tanja and Tia's strongest, so I'm really lucky to have two people that are so talented at doing that I can learn from today.
I think it's going to be a really fun challenge to watch you in action.
We're kind of focusing on weddings on film today and some, ideas on how you can work with a couple, work with two people together.
Just for me, I've always more associated with one-on-one photography, just really simple, images with one person.
I have a feeling that you're going to rock this, so I'm really excited to see how it all comes together.
And I kind of struggle working with couples because you always want it to feel natural, you want it to make sense, and that requires some really good skill at directing, which I lack.
The only thing that makes me a little nervous is it's going to be freezing cold outside. But the show must go on, right? Like, when we're dealing with a little bit of wedding-style photography today, so... Whoops.
But it's going to be good. I'm excited to watch Tanja and Tia work. I've been to one of their workshops before, and it was a great experience. So I'm going to try and glean all I can from both of them today, and then hopefully pull off a couple of good shots with more than one person.
I know, Ryan, that you aren't a big wedding shooter, so it's going to be kind of fun to see you squirming just a little bit. That being said, I have all faith that you're going to rock this.
I'm really hoping to get something today that'll improve my photography in the future.
But I think he's going to have some growth today, which is, basically why we're doing the show anyways. We all need to grow. I grew a mustache overnight, as you can see. Oh, gosh. I don't know how you boys keep these things on. Yeah.
So we're here at St. Chappelle Winery, and this is our venue today for our faux wedding that we're shooting this beautiful couple. Why don't you introduce yourselves, beautiful couple?
I'm Kaylee.
I'm Jimmy.
They're lovers.
I think that was a song. Kaylee and Jimmy going to the chapel.
Tia,
Yeah.
you did an amazing job styling them.
Thank
Want to
you.
tell a little bit about what you put together for them and why?
Well, we just kind of went with a little 50s flair because we love vintage. We're in love with it all the time. And we thought it'd be nice to just kind of take them out of the norm. And we had some wonderful people bring some dresses today from her personal collection. We chose this one, just so dramatic. And we have a ton of wind today. So I think this is going to catch the wind. And then we also have this, beautiful jacket. We wanted to go with fall colors. And we also wanted to make him a little dapper dude. We didn't want to give him the typical suit. So we just, dressed him up like our own little 50s dolls.
Yeah. Sometimes what we find too is when we actually dress up our clients a little bit more in an era or a vibe, it almost makes it easier for them to take on the part and become that. So it actually makes our job directing them a lot easier because they already kind of feel like that because they're already embodied it, right? So you can kind of feel the vibe a little bit more, right? And get a little bit more into it. Exactly. Obviously on a real wedding, you're not going to get the chance to do that. On a wedding day, you have maybe 20 minutes to an hour to actually photograph the bride and groom. And so sometimes it's like rush, 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 and the bride and groom are like, their head is not in the game at that point. So it is important as a photographer to be able to calm them down and slow them down, help them to forget the chaos of the day, and really get them in a place where they're going to be able to emote what you want them to during that 20 minutes to an hour-long session. So I have some little tricks to do that. But the challenge today is going to be, because this one here is used to working with gorgeous female models, we're sort of challenging him to see what he can whip up with a couple. He says he's not afraid to work with couples, he's just afraid of love.
Don't be afraid.
So that's a big challenge. Also, you guys saw what we talked about pre-visualizing the shoot out in the vineyard, so now we're gonna bring that to fruition and complete those shots.
Yeah. Ooh, you guys have a lot in store for you.
All right, let's go do it.
Let's go do it. So basically what I like to do, Ryan, when I show up at a wedding, I don't like to be cold turkey. So at some point I plan in the schedule to go out and do a quick scout before I bring the bride and groom out or before I bring the bridal party out. You don't just bring them out and be like, okay, now what do I do? You want to look like the professional, you want to seem prepared. So I like to just take a little break and sneak out, and while I'm out, I'll scour the grounds and I'll already know, I'll see pictures in my head like there. So when we bring the bride and groom out, it's like...
All right, so let's find a couple of spots and plan some shots. So looking up at this right now, I can already tell that I want to be on a wider angle lens. On a 50mm lens, you're not going to get the perspective of all these rows. So I want to see something that shows the sky, shows a bunch of these rows. So if we're shooting on the f100, we're probably going to use like a 17mm lens, get it really expansive.
This is how we differ a little bit, and how it's beautiful actually. What he sees is the equipment he's going to use. I never worry about that stuff. What I see is what I'm going to have the bride and groom doing in the scene.
So what are they going to do?
So, I'll show you. So normally what I do is I look at a scene and then I analyze how I'm going to see the bride and groom in that scene. What are they doing in there? So as I'm scouting locations, I'm going, what are they doing in there? And then I see them almost like a movie. So you're the groom, you're just like, boom.
Standing cool.
And then I'm the bride, I'm going to go in and I'm going to... that.
And what about you? Where are you in this shot?
I'm there down low.
Down low?
Down low.
How come down low?
If you're shooting from this position, Ryan, standing position, what you're gonna get in the background is basically a little bit of snow and maybe the tip of the mountain. But if you get low, you guys should get low so you can see.
Ooh, little video demonstration.
If you get low and wide, if you have that capability, now you're gonna see us in this great expanse of the sky, which is so much more dramatic.
Also, I think shooting from above or below gives it a more storyteller type angle instead of like I was standing there with the camera. You know, when you're down low and seeing something, you recognize that's not how you would normally look at it. So it gives it more of a like storyteller, dramatic aspect.
Yes, and then I would almost see them frolicking maybe.
Backwards?
No, but they're like,
oh, forwards.
They could be frolicking. Maybe he grabs her
Ooh.
and he pulls her back, and then she embraces him, and then she comes in, and then she kind of tries to escape from him, but he don't let her, and then he puts her against the pole, and then she grabs him, and she's like, don't kiss me, don't kiss me, kiss me, don't kiss me, don't kiss me, kiss me. Okay, those are the types of movies I see in my head, so then I just make my couple see them.
The location we were at was out in the hills, so, you know, all you could see was these rows and rows of grape vineyards and the rolling hills behind it. Oh, and all covered in white, and oh, so beautiful. And the sun came out, but yet it was just gusting wind. I know the whole crew was just completely frozen. We went out and we scouted our locations, and I could have like scouted 50. It was so pretty out there. So we've had a few windy days here in Idaho. You might be able to tell. This morning was crazy, crazy cold, crazy windy. We woke up and there was snow all over the ground. I loved our couple. I feel like they
were so sweet, and they were so excited to be there. Like, they were just very charming.
It's freezing out here. I don't know if you can see the snow on the ground, but we had a snow come in last night and it's freezing. The beautiful part about that is on a real wedding day, it could happen to any of us. Of course, I don't want to make them completely uncomfortable. So of course we got them snuggled up here, and we're gonna rip off the snugglies and shoot, and put them back on so that they can be, I don't want them to freeze to death on their wedding day. I'm gonna be shooting today with one of my favorite cameras. It's my Mamiya RZ67. This camera for film, you're gonna get 10 shots for every roll of 120, 20 shots for every roll of 220. So because Fuji is 120, we're working with 10 shots. So there will be a little bit of reloading here and there. I'm also gonna shoot some Contax 645, 120 in that as well. And I wanna start calming them down. So I'm gonna use my voice tones a little bit to start calming them down. I'm gonna go, how you guys doing? I'm gonna whisper a little bit, because I want their energy to start being calm, okay? I don't want you to think about the wind. I don't want you to think about anything. Don't put anything in here, just let it all go. I'm gonna tell you exactly what to do. I get this going on, the camera comes in, boom, to capture it. That's it, that's the camera's job. The other part, I figured 90% of it is me and the connection I want between them and between me. The other thing I like to do is not be in here fiddling with gear, because these guys are gonna lose interest. They're gonna start thinking about being cold. So I wanna keep this interest with them. When I first start photographing someone, the 3 things that I feel are really important to tell them. The first thing is, it really looks good in pictures, it just feels weird in person. I'll probably yell out, chin, 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 okay? And what I mean by that is it looks really good in pictures if you bring your chin out and down. So when you do it, you'll feel this strain here. You're doing it right if you feel that, okay? When people get in front of the camera, they tense up. So they hold their lips like this, right? I just want just a natural, go ahead. Yes, your mouth is closed, but your lips are falling naturally. And keep breathing, don't hold your breath, okay? All right, and then the third thing that I think is really important is when you look at the camera, instead of looking at it like that, you need to look through it. So I call that fire eyes. So if I want you to get a little bit more sexy and sultry, I might ask you to give me a little fire in your eyes, okay? And if you're looking at the camera, you won't be able to focus on the lens. You'll see through it. It's almost like you get blurry vision in there, okay? So let's practice yours. It looks, yes, he has it! So you gotta remind them, you cannot do fire with smiling. So let the smile go, okay. Blow it out, and then, ooh, there, she's got it.
I think that directing is an area where most people struggle. And we all have our own ways of doing it, and there is no right or wrong way of directing. And I do believe, like our couple said today, that that they want direction. They really need it, especially if they're not models, I just wanted you to tell them what to do. The more comfortable they're gonna feel, and the better pictures you're gonna get of them, and the better experience they're gonna have from it.
The awesome part about this, when we did our light walk, we actually had no sun, which really stunk. But the good thing about today is it's about 1 o'clock, very close to high noon. I have no fear of shooting in this light whatsoever. This is my favorite light to shoot in, actually, because there's more of it. The sun is actually not behind us. It's totally about at 10 o'clock from where I'm gonna have them. So it's not directly on them or behind them. If I took his hat off, you would look at the light on his face and you might be afraid. You're like, nope, that stinks. I can't shoot right now. It's high noon. What am I gonna do? I'm not afraid of this because I know how to work him and his angles in order to make that change a little bit. So for one thing, the hat really helps on him. Having him on this side of her, but I'm gonna tell him to keep his face slightly in this direction and down. So it's not about necessarily moving out of the light, it's about moving your clients within the light to something that works. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna take one person and I'm gonna show them what I want them to do. Way easier to show than to tell. So I'm gonna say, hey, how's it going? I want you to put your hands inside your pocket and you're just like, boom. Now, my body language and basically the noise I made is all I needed for him to get exactly what I want him to do really quickly. So I'm like, and now he knows exactly what I want. Not too much information at first, but I'm gonna basically get him where I want him. Then I'm gonna look at her and I'm gonna say, okay, now this is what I want you to do, okay? I'm gonna have you come here. You're going to push your hips right up to him. So that's the first thing, hips in. You're gonna grab his arm and you're gonna come up here just like you're gonna, you know. Okay. Now she has a very clear vision of what I want her to do, and that's it. My job's easy and pretty much done. Okay, see where she's at? Go ahead and go in. Go ahead and go in, just like I showed you. Oh, beautiful, right? But there's something lacking in this for me because I'm gonna tell her, bring your feet back just a little. Step back just a little. Now fall in from your hips. Boom. What did that add? It added a little bit more drama, like she's falling into him. And we love drama. I'm gonna meter them. Now, so 5, 6 at 180. Push away from him. Push away from him with your hands. Now, fall in from your hips. Now, keep your chest out. Keep your chest out. Nope. Keep your chest back. Just watch me. Cave it in. Don't stick it out. Yep. Now bring your chin in towards him. Okay, you guys look adorable. So all I want you to do is just little silly with each other right there. So you laugh, love her, and you tell her you love her, you love her, and I talk to them the whole time, and I keep their energy really, really big, and I just keep talking to them until I get exactly what I want. Chin up towards him, up towards him, up towards him. Boom. Picture one. All right. Awesome. Now, oh, that was so cute. Wait, do that again. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Kaylee, just lay your head right on his shoulder. Ooh. Drop your chin down. Okay. Jimmy, bring your chin out towards me. Ooh, now towards her. Ooh, right there. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. One more. Jimmy, breathe. In and out. Okay, because we're in the sun, right? I want him to still shade her. So I'm gonna tell her, she doesn't even know why I'm telling her this. I don't really overburden them with too much information. All they are thinking about right now is they're cold and most people, do I look fat, do I look stupid? But if I burden them with too much information that they don't need to know, I'm gonna lose them. I think a lot of times we tell our clients way too many things. Like, I'm gonna shoot you at f2.0, so I blow out the background. You know what they're doing? Woo, they're going, God, I hope I look okay. I hope I don't look stupid. Telling them only the necessary things. That's it, nothing more. They don't need to know everything you're doing. You know what you're doing, but they don't need to know. All I'm telling her is stay slightly behind him. That's it. And then that's all she needs to know. And you obviously have your bouquet. So your bouquet is actually gonna come into this hand. Okay. So that you can, use your hand on him. So you're gonna walk slightly in front of her. You're gonna look back at her, okay? Don't do it yet. Ready, set, go. Gorgeous. Stop and kiss, stop and kiss. Ooh, go in close, close, close. Hips to each other. Yes. Oh, grab your hand and wrap it around her waist and pull her to you. Kaylee, let go of your dress. Kaylee, bring your flowers to your other hand. Woo, right there. Hips in, hips in, hips in. Beautiful. Woo. Okay, now you're gonna kind of fall in. You guys are gonna kiss, right? Okay. And then you're gonna turn and then you're gonna sleep back, kiss him again, right? And then you're gonna kind of like push him away from you, like no. And you're gonna kind of come over to the pole. You're gonna pull him. You're like, you ain't getting away from me. That's your attitude. You're like, you are not getting away from me. You're here, you kiss him, and then you go, oh, and then you run towards the pole, and he's pulling you. You're running, and then you get here, and you're like, no. And then he comes in, and he's like, yes. And then you go back, oh, okay. And then you kiss, okay? You got it? Okay, ready? So, go ahead and just meet in the middle. Kaylee, right there. Fall in from your hips. Ooh, stay. Grab her. Remember the grab? Put your feet closer into her. Oh, right there. Oh, now Kaylee, grab him. Now turn, Kaylee, turn. Nope, turn the other way. Yes. Oh, right there. You're okay, you're okay. Ooh, beautiful. Now, you're like, no, I can't do it. I'm gonna get away. I'm going away. I'm going away. And he's gonna come in behind her and hips go to her. Nope, 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 nope. Back here, back here. Then go in, go in. hips going to her. Get in there. Oh, she's like, no, no. And they kiss, and they kiss. And then she's like, okay. And she puts her hand on his cheek. She puts her hand on his cheek, and she lets him. And then he stands up tall, and she falls back into him. Okay, you can have me. Kiss again. Oh, gorgeous. Love it. Okay, cut. The key things I would say to start, Ryan, when you have 2 people over 1, is just get the first person. Think about 1 person at a time. Even with bridal parties, this is a little thing, hidden nugget. Even with bridal parties, I put 1 person in at a time, and I show each person where to go and what to do. So even with 2 people, get 1 person, then the other.
All right. So I'm gonna kind of explain the shot I was seeing, and then I'm gonna have Tanja help me fine tune it so we can get this amazing shot. If you guys can see some of this vista, I want to get a wide angle shot where they're kind of cuddled in together, where we can see all this amazing country of the winery. So that's what we're gonna do.
Awesome.
So we'll steal your
Jackets
blanket from you.
off!
I so apologize. Thanks for freezing for us. So I definitely want to go for more cool, not solemn, but just kind of like relaxed vibe. And then we're going to have you cuddled up in the side of it.
Instead of telling him with your words, show him exactly what you want.
Show me cuddled up into him.
No, but you said, I want you here kind of relaxed. But that could look like a million different things to other people, right? Relax is,
So maybe kind of
show him with your body.
We got to our location and it was just freezing cold. So it just I kind of got in that mood, and nothing really went the way I wanted it to, but I want to admit it, and I want to learn from it.
I know at one point in the day there was a little bit of tension when we gave Ryan his challenge between he and I, because our directing styles are so different.
I have to say, it was a little tense today.
No, you didn't do it. You're not off the hook because you didn't show him he has no idea what you're faced to do. Is that what you want?
I want his face to do. I need to look at it.
Well, that's the part. You have to kind of know what you want the energy to be like. So is it sweeping, or is it soft and romantic, or is it like laughing and silly? Like, let's start there.
I know my girl Tanja, she's very passionate, very passionate, and that's what you see when you look at her images.
What are they doing in it?
Yeah, I want it more deep thought, kind of like ponderously.
So instead of the word now, show them what that looks like on their face.
I don't know what that looks like.
But neither does he, and he can't interpret your words. You can't even interpret your words.
I really wasn't trying to tell Ryan that he needed to take my directing approach on. I was just trying to give him a few more tools in his toolbox of what he could do if he was having some problems getting some of the stuff out of his clients that, perhaps if he has someone difficult to work with, maybe this is something he can pull out and use and see if it works.
So let's have you kind of leaning back into that. Awesome. Yeah, that's going to be great. So if I can have you kind of come in here.
Sure. Show her what you want her to do.
No, because that doesn't work for guy photographers.
Yes, it does.
They can't snuggle
But
like
okay,
that.
but
I
you
don't
could
agree
go.
with that.
No, you can't. You could go like this. What I want you to do is come in and snuggle him right here. That's all I'm saying by show. It doesn't mean you have to be like me and be all over him.
I felt bad for Ryan because I felt his energy kind of go down a little bit. This is a challenge. It's supposed to be challenging. And so I wanted to hold him to that challenge and not let him get away with not trying it.
I think a lot of the times when you're looking at someone's work that you don't really know, you just see the best of what's happened to them, the best of the best. And you don't really see what else they've been through. And I know I've been there before today, and I know everyone else has been there, so I kind of just want to admit it, that nothing went the way I wanted it to today.
That's all you have to do. Okay. And that would work for a guy photographer.
All right, you ready for this?
Yes. Besides, you're a
look
girl
very
photographer.
So I want that same thing. I do want you kind of just kind of snuggled into him, maybe even like almost resting your head. Which side is that on?
It's in this manner of directing that's very connected to the subject. Getting close, breaking them down, getting the fear to go away, and turning them into almost award-winning actors and actresses, to be honest with you, letting them live out some moments they probably always fantasized about.
So I liked when you were looking down at these, just like that, when your eyes kind of went to those. Yeah, I like that. So,
Okay. yeah, if you like it, like just step back and then when you have your camera ready, then direct a little more if you need
Perfect. We forgot stuff. We had to go back for stuff. Styling took a little bit longer than, not longer than expected. It just took the time it takes, and that wasn't Tia's fault at all. But we just kind of ran out of time. So by the time it came to shooting, I was watching Tanja do her shooting, and then it came to me to shoot. And I already had a lot on my mind. I was looking at Tanja and thinking how she shoots and how much I admire it and how she gets what she does. But I was also looking at the couple and thinking, all right, this is what I would do. This is where I want to go with it. But we didn't have time for that. So what I ended up with was just a couple of minutes to take 3 frames.
Now see, their bodies are right, but now they're worried about what to do with their face, so you have to tell.
Perfect. So if you will, just kind of hold your flowers up against his chest, right in there, and just kind of rest your head into him, and you can actually just look. See, Tanja, help me work their heads with his hat.
Okay, so
That's
this
where
is
I'm
the problem.
getting tripped up. And I definitely want to reiterate, it was not anybody's fault. It wasn't Tanya's fault. It wasn't Tia's fault. It wasn't anyone in production's fault. You just have days like that. It just sucks.
Tell me first what the energy is between them and what the emotion is that you're trying to achieve.
I think part of it was that he just kind of took me wrong, or my intention wrong. I was sort of holding true to the challenge and like, okay, Ryan, let's see you do this now. And he actually told me to interrupt him if he wasn't doing the way I asked him to do it. So I definitely interrupted him a lot, and I was like being kind of hard on him, like, no, you didn't do that. No, I was like, don't use words, show them.
So the key is that you have to know what the energy is, okay? So is it lustful and longing, or is it just pretty? Or is it sweet and sincere? Is it soft?
Yeah, I want it sweet and sincere.
Sweet and sincere, okay. So now you talk to them sweet and sincerely so they feel your energy.
So it's funny to me when people say, how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that? And then she'll tell them, this is how you do it. And then they'll instantly resist and say, but that's not going to work for me.
When you get their bodies where you want it, that's the first part. But that's not it. It's not done. You have to get their faces where you want them, or you're going to get a pretty portrait.
And I think that he was just like, it freaked him out because he froze. He didn't really, at that point, I think, really care too much about what he wanted to tell him. He was just like, he didn't want to do it. And he sort of shut down.
They need to know what to do with their faces. They need you to tell them.
What I'm focusing on right now is that I got to watch Tanja work, and she's so fantastic at directing and emoting and connecting and conveying. And I'm not. But that's okay. I get to spend a few more weeks with someone that's so skilled at it, and I'm going to pick up a little bit more of it. And it also helped me refine who I am. Like, that isn't how I want to shoot that. That isn't how I would have done it. This is what I would have done.
You just show them with your own face what to do. They're going to get it like this, okay? So, sweet and sincere.
I definitely saw some resistance there in him. Because I understand, he wants to be him. He doesn't want to be Tanja, he wants to be Ryan.
I love that when your head was like this and you're just kind of looking down like this. Yeah. Just
tell
like
her the
that.
emotion, Ryan. Not just where to look, but how to look. What to emote. Got it.
By the time it came to make my shot, I had freezing cold models, a bunch of people watching, no time to do it, and Tanja encouraging me in a really positive way to grab the experience and learn from it. Just really sweet and soft, like you were doing right there. That was so perfect. How you're just looking down right here and you looking at her. That looks amazing.
But you're still just telling them where to look, not how to feel. They need to know how to feel, or they're not going to feel anything.
There's a lot of the next couple of weeks that I'm freaked out about, and that I really admire Ryan on, he knows so much more about equipment, so much more about cameras and exposures and fancy stuff, and that freaks me out. I still want to learn it because I feel like it will make me more well-rounded, and if ever the situation that I need to pull that out of my toolbox, like I want to know what to do and be comfortable doing it.
It's really hard, right, Ryan?
It
This
is really
difficult
hard
stuff. But they need it. They need to know, or they're gonna be like, okay, I'm looking over here. Unless you get really lucky and you get a bride and groom who are just automatically doing all this amazing stuff, which happens how many times? Maybe if you're really lucky. If you're not lucky, they're counting on you to tell them what they need to do.
I don't want to throw away the value in a failed experiment for me. I think there's probably more you can learn by failing than by succeeding. When you succeed, you think, yeah, that's what I was going to do. I did it. But failure really gives you the chance to step back and go, wow, none of that was right. So next time, what am I going to do? And that's what I'm going to do. Next time, it's going to be better.
But then on the other hand, Ryan, who is also brilliant in his own way, his pictures are full of emotion too, and it's a different kind of emotion. It's a more quiet, distant emotion.
So what's the emotion? I'm not letting you get out of it.
The emotion is soft.
No, not your word. Show them. You're going back to telling them. They don't know what soft looks like. But they can look at you and they can see what you do, and then they're just gonna do it. I promise you. So watch what happens. Just fall into him like this. Ooh, now just look at her like that. How fast, and they knew exactly. And I didn't tell them any words. I just showed them. That's what I'm trying to say. I know you don't want to show them because you're like, but you have to do it because that's how you're gonna get that picture.
When you kind of just tilted your head into him like that, right there, and your eyes, that looks perfect.
You're still telling her where to put her head and where to put her eyes. I know I'm holding you
But
to
I'm
emotion.
not you.
No,
I know for a
but...
fact I would get better pictures shooting like me than trying to be you.
Okay.
I just kind of shut down, you know? I was being asked to do the shoot in a way that I wasn't comfortable doing in the freezing cold with no time, with everybody waiting for it to be over. So I wish I had been able to respond a little bit differently to that, to make some great images, but it didn't work out like that. And sometimes it won't. And hopefully the more times it does happen, the less times it's going to happen. But today was one of those days, and it just was. And I'm okay with it. Sorry, I know you guys are freezing. Thanks so much for putting up with me.
You're good.
So if you'll just hold them like that, just kind of will you look at me right there?
I have so much to learn from Ryan. We just have different strengths, and I think everybody has different strengths and different weaknesses. And like when I'm around him and I'm watching him fiddle with all his equipment, I'm like, whoa, I feel like, what am I doing? You know, I don't know what I'm doing sometimes with those things. So I would look to him as like the professional or the one that knows all of that stuff that I don't know at all.
So I just saw a really pretty shot, and I just wanted to talk about it. That's part of what I was talking about a couple days ago, of just the best thing you can do to get better at photography is learning to see light. I mean, without a doubt, that is the best thing you can learn. So as I'm doing anything, as I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, that window light's so pretty on Tia's face. Anything I look at, I just try to decide, how would I shoot that? If I had to take this picture, that was my assignment, what would I do? So we were just walking around, and I just saw this hood, and I was like, wow. And this window lights on her face, it was just so pretty. And one of the things I love about this Contax 645 is that the negative is 6 by 4.5 centimeters, which on a 35 millimeter camera, you know, your sensor is about this big. But on this 645 camera, the negative's like this big. And the three common things that affect depth of field that most people remember is your aperture, your focal length, and your distance to subject. But the one that a lot of digital shooters forget, because all the cameras have the same size chip, is the size of your capture medium. So on this 645 negative, you can blur, you know, you can have a very little amount in focus. So where this shot, she's sitting here, and you know, the hanger and the jacket and the dress isn't really the ideal background. But by shooting this at f2, that this lens can go to, and getting to my minimum focus distance right here. Yeah, let's clear that light for just a second. Right here, that picture, I can completely blur the dress. You can't even tell what it is.
everyone has their own techniques and skills, and just because this is how I do it and I know it's effective does not mean that other people don't do things that aren't effective either. It just means that this is one way to do it.
You want to take bits and pieces of what they have to offer and like turn it into, utilize that, but do it in your own way.
Okay, so darling, you're gonna stand here and go ahead and let your face completely chin, 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 right there. Go ahead, just close your eyes. Okay, so what you're gonna do, darling, you're gonna bring your hip in, you're gonna wrap your arms around her here, and you're gonna come in like that.
And I know that sometimes too, she may come across a little bit like a bully, like do it, do it, do it. But it isn't really a bullying or thinking like my way is the only way. I know her, so I know that it's just pure passion. The feedback that comes from the clients or the subjects too, and they say, I'm so glad that you put that much into it. I'm so glad that you told us exactly what to do and you showed us what to do, and you made those sounds that you make that, sometimes you might think are crazy, but it literally works, and they validate that time and time and time and time again.
Fuller. Whoa, okay.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
One of the biggest compliments is when my clients see their pictures, they're like, oh my God, I look like a model. And they felt like one in that moment. And who doesn't want a day where they get to be a model for the day? I'm working with professional models occasionally, but for the most part, I'm working with real people who have no experience in front of the camera, and they're terrified. Whereas Ryan, generally, he works with beautiful models, and they're used to being in front of the camera. They don't need to be warmed up. They don't need to be told exactly what to do. They kind of got it down. They've been doing this a while. They know how to emote things.
Doing this wide shot, if I have them doing too much like ooh, ooh, but I'm doing more of a dramatic with the big church in the background, it'll be too much going on in the picture. I want this to be really scenic. Like you have the big church in the background and the bride and groom are just okay. So in that, that's why I'm not directing them to do a lot right now. I just want them to be sort of still, okay?
Maybe there's going to be an opportunity where he's not shooting a professional model. And if that's the case, and he's not getting from them what he wants, then this is a thing he can pull out and see if it works.
And I admit it, I do like working with people who are easy to work with and comfortable in front of the camera, because I'm not comfortable behind the camera. So having that time to just take it slow, and sometimes it's awkward, and sometimes I'm waiting, and sometimes I'm just searching for the shot.
I don't think it means you have to completely change who you are, or completely change your style, or do it like this because somebody else does it this way. I really agree with that statement, that it just gives you a few other tools that you can use, and you can pull them out whenever you feel like it. When you don't. You know what I mean?
Take a couple deep breaths, guys, and blow it out, and pull her towards you. Pull your chins in. Oh, right there. Gorgeous. And go ahead and kiss her on the lips right there. Pull each other. Ooh, amazing.
He really did get that, if I do want to pull that type of emotion out of my clients, that here is a way that I can actually do that.
And that's something I love about Tanja. She sees it in her head, and then it's just execution to get it. But that isn't me. I'm waiting for that moment where I feel what it is I'm feeling, and then I just know it when it happens. And I completely understand that's not as convenient for client work or engagements or weddings or people who are uncomfortable and asking you for the service of making them feel comfortable.
I would just really challenge him to maybe take some of this in, because on real people, it could be that they need a little bit more direction than a lot of the models that he's used to working with.
Yes! Okay, perfect. Done. Gorgeous! Good job, you guys. Thank you. Good job.
Some of the people that aren't used to being in front of the camera, actually, even if they're a model starting out, maybe it's her first photo shoot, and it would be a great gift to give her, just a little bit more direction and a little bit making her feel comfortable in that. So
I would love to get better at that. That's why I love being around Tanja, but what I love about photography isn't that. And that's just not me, and that's okay. That's just one of our differences.
Obviously, my style of directing is a little bit intense, and all I'm saying is it works for me. Now, the one thing I wanted to ask these guys about is really I want to get feedback from you guys, be very, very honest. As the process was going, what key things can you remember standing out in your mind that worked to get you guys to know very quickly what I wanted you to do?
I hate to say it right.
Oh, no, go for it.
But showing us, I mean, you were really specific with what you wanted, and so it was really easy not knowing. You can't just say, do this, and then we don't know how to do it. It's not what we do. So it was really nice having you show us and just be really almost dramatic with it.
The sound effects helped. All the...
Yes. So the sound effects helped you, the showing helped you.
Mm-hmm. You can convey a lot of emotion in just some of the sounds you make. And I think that's something you're really, really good at.
I don't know what it is that holds us back sometimes, but if we're holding back, so will our subjects and so will our clients. It's just the truth.
Everyone's comfortable in their own skin doing things a certain way.
They're not all magical moment stories. Sometimes what you take is, I tried and failed at that. And next time, I might fail again, but I'm going to do a tiny bit better. It was a really sucky day for me, but I'm determined to have it be a positive experience.
There's no really right or wrong, it's just what works. And the bottom line to all that is we need to be more aware of how our clients feel, I think, and getting feedback from them on what worked and what didn't when we're directing. The only reason why I'm confident in the style of directing that I do is because over the years and years I've directed people, just getting feedback from them and figuring out what makes them feel good, what makes them feel beautiful, what makes the experience seem natural and easy and where they don't have to think too much about it.
But what I've got to do is internalize that as how it relates to me. I've got to stop wanting to be her in those situations and start to learn how what she does can apply to what I do. Comparing yourselves to other photographers is absolutely pointless. And we all know it, but we all do it. That does a disservice to the things that I'm good at. I'm okay waiting out the moment and talking until I see what I want to capture.
Sometimes stepping out of our comfort zone is really necessary for growth in anything.
Well, she's so good at creating a moment, and I admire that so much. That's not exactly how I shoot.
And in life, we have to do a lot of things that don't always feel like super comfortable. And I think that's how we grow, is by doing things that aren't comfortable.
And my work means a lot to me. It's very cathartic. I get a lot out of it. And sometimes it ends up being just for me. Sometimes it's not as helpful to other people, but that's why I'm doing it mainly, is for me, because I'm getting so much personally out of it. And that idea kind of crystallized for me today.
I think sometimes on a wedding day they forget kind of why they're there. They're in love.
Yes.
They're not putting on a show.
And
So
so
that's
to
a
remind
moment that you get to bring them back to that place. Just for even 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. You guys did a great job.
Yeah, you guys did.
Group hug, group hug, group hug. Oh, yay.
All film was provided by Fujifilm. And a special thanks to Richard Photolab for processing all images in this episode. Like the music? Special thanks to Triple Scoop Music. Frame Network giveaways are brought to you by B&H. Head to giveaways.framenetwork.com for your chance to win. Find out more about the equipment used in this episode on framenetwork.com.